before you spend hundreds or even thousands on a mechanic. I've got a $6 trick that can make your heat blow twice as hot. Yes, you heard that right, twice as hot. And it's so simple, anyone can do it. Stick around, because at the end, I'll reveal a secret tip that can prevent up to 40% of common engine problems. Seriously, this could save you big money and headaches. Ready to turn your cold car into a warm powerhouse without breaking the bank? Let's dive in. First things first, check the thermostat. Begin by examining the thermostat. In cars over 8 years old, a malfunctioning thermostat is behind about 30% of heating problems. If you tend to ignore the check engine light, that's often a major clue. A PSU-128 code usually means the thermostat is stuck open. When it's open, coolant keeps flowing continuously, preventing the engine and your heater from reaching the proper temperature. No matter how high you set the heat, your cabin will stay cold. Sometimes the car's computer won't detect this issue, so a hands-on check is necessary. After turning off the engine, wait a few minutes and carefully feel the top radiator hose. If it's still cool, the thermostat may be stuck open. Many people skip this step, but it's an important way to pinpoint heating problems early. Second, check the level of coolant. Next, check your coolant level. Coolant isn't just for keeping the engine cool, it's also what heats your cabin. Surprisingly, only 19% of drivers check it regularly. Most only notice when there's a problem. Low coolant can leave you shivering in your car. Make sure the engine has cooled before opening the radiator cap to inspect the fluid. It's also smart to check the coolant reservoir to ensure everything is at the proper level. Never let your coolant be too low or too high. When it's too low, air can enter the heater core, stopping it from producing warm air. The heater core works by circulating hot coolant, which a fan then blows across to heat the cabin. Without enough coolant, no amount of heat control will warm the interior. Too much coolant can also create problems. Excess pressure may prevent the heater core from functioning and could cause serious issues like engine overheating, misfires, or electrical faults. If your coolant level looks normal, you can safely move on to check other potential causes of heating problems. Verify that the vehicle is operating at the ideal temperature. Before the heater can properly warm your cabin, the engine must reach its ideal operating temperature. This is especially true for older vehicles. Take a short drive and watch the temperature gauge. When the needle sits in the middle, the engine is at the correct temperature. If it remains low after about 15 minutes, this could indicate a coolant issue, while an excessively high reading might signal a cooling system problem. Once the temperature is normal and stable, turn off the engine and inspect under the hood if necessary. Check the AC settings, which is number 4. Air conditioning usability is more important than many people realize. In fact, 42% of drivers say an easy-to-use AC system is one of the most important features when buying a new car. Touchscreen climate controls are often confusing, and many drivers still struggle with physical knobs. Even the auto function doesn't always fix the problem. To warm the cabin efficiently, turn the temperature dial all the way to the hot side, then gradually increase the fan speed as the car warms up, starting from low. Press the recirculation button to reuse the warm air already inside the cabin instead of constantly drawing in cold outside air. This speeds up the heating process, especially when temperatures are below zero. However, avoid using recirculation if your windows are foggy, as it can worsen visibility. Make sure to listen for this when you're modifying the AC settings. The blend door actuator controls how much hot or cold air enters the cabin. It moves to block hot air when the AC is on, block cold air when the heater is on, and allow a mix of both when the dial is set to a middle position. Some cars use a heating control valve, but the result is the same. Signs of a failing blend door actuator include the cabin being too hot when you want it cool, too cold when you want heat, or the temperature shifting unpredictably. To test it, turn the engine on and set the dial to the coldest setting, then move it quickly to the middle, and finally to the hottest setting. You should hear a knocking sound from the dash, which indicates the actuator is functioning correctly. Electrical noises instead of knocks may signal an issue. One more thing needs to be checked before I reveal the most frequent reason why your car heating isn't working. Before we get to the most common cause of heater failure, there is one last thing to check to ensure your system is operating properly. Sixth, check the resistor in the blower motor. One of the most unpredictable parts in your car is the blower motor resistor. Some fail after just a few years, while others can last for decades. Fortunately, it's usually easy to tell when it's about to stop working. You can test it with either hot or cold air, but since your heater isn't working, we'll stick with cold air for this test. Start by setting your fan to the lowest speed, then gradually increase it to the highest. If the fan speed rises smoothly, both the resistor and the blower motor are in good condition. But if the fan speed doesn't change or stays the same, you likely have a problem. The resistor is also likely dead if no air is coming out of the vents at all. Replacing it is simple and relatively inexpensive. A full blower motor kit costs around $100. Before swapping anything out, make sure the fuse isn't blown by testing it with a multimeter or test light. If the fuse is blown, replacing it should restore the blower motor. If the fuse is intact, you may need to replace the resistor, the motor, or both. Always use high-quality replacement parts. As I explain in my video, 11 stupidly cheap parts that destroy your engine fast. Avoid making those costly mistakes. If the blower motor is working properly, the next step is to check the heater core. The seventh step is to examine the heater core. At this stage, it's reasonable to suspect that a blocked heater core is causing your car not to heat up. You can confirm this by locating the two heater core hoses. Look for two black pipes that run from the engine to the firewall. If either hose feels cold when the engine is warm, your heater core is likely clogged. Blockages occur when old coolant breaks down over time. Rust, sludge, and tiny debris start to accumulate inside the heater core and settle in small cracks. Most mechanics will recommend replacing the heater core, but don't rush to spend your money. Replacement can cost around $1,000, and for luxury cars like Mercedes or BMW, it can easily exceed $2,000. Some mechanics may suggest a standard coolant flush, but this won't remove the sludge inside the heater core. They are often just trying to sell you something. While heating might improve temporarily, the clog will return, and you'll be faced with a costly replacement. How a blocked heater core can be flushed. Flushing a heater core is almost always better and much cheaper than replacing it, as long as there isn't a leak. Doing it yourself costs less than $30, whereas an auto shop might charge $100, $250. You only need a few basic tools: a garden hose, CLR, calcium, lime, and rust remover, safety gloves and goggles, pliers, or a hose clamp removal tool, an air pump, a funnel, and some extra coolant for refilling. This method is highly effective and works more than 90% of the time, as long as you follow the steps carefully, including the bonus tips at the end. By using this flush, you can clear the blockage and restore your heater's performance without spending a fortune. Step 1. Check for heater core leaks. Before doing anything, it's essential to make sure your heater core isn't leaking. Flushing a heater core that already has a leak will only make the problem worse, and repairing a damaged dashboard can be extremely costly. Start by inspecting the interior of your vehicle. If you notice a sweet coolant smell or see liquid leaking behind the dashboard, the heater core is likely compromised. Next, check the AC drain under the vehicle. Seeing coolant mixed with water here is unusual and can indicate a leak. Another reliable method is to use a pressure tester, which you can do yourself or have a mechanic perform. Many shops will check for leaks free of charge if you ask politely. If a leak is found, the heater core must be replaced. Products like Radiator Stop Leak will not fix this issue. If no leaks are present, you can move on to the next step. Step 2. Remove the heater core hoses. Once the engine has completely cooled, it's time to remove the heater core hoses. Hot, pressurized coolant can cause serious burns, so exercise caution. Place a plastic container under the vehicle to catch any coolant that may drip out. While coolant has a sweet smell that can attract animals, it is highly toxic and must be disposed of properly. Use a hose clamp remover to carefully detach both the inlet and outlet hoses from the heater core. Step 3. Empty the coolant. Any coolant left inside the heater core needs to be fully drained. The most effective method is to use an air pump, inserting it into one vent to force the coolant out. For thoroughness, switch to the opposite vent and repeat the process until no more coolant comes out. If coolant still remains, additional measures may be necessary to ensure the heater core is completely empty before proceeding. Step 4. Add the CLR. CLR is a powerful cleaner designed to remove calcium, limescale, and surface rust from sinks, bathtubs, and other household fixtures. A few years back, some clever people discovered it could also be used to clean heater cores. Safety first. CLR can irritate your skin if you haven't handled it before. Make sure to wear gloves and safety goggles before starting. Next, grab a funnel and a hose that can reach directly into the heater core. Pour the CLR into the core until it's full. Step 5. Let it work. Once the CLR is inside, you need to let it do its job. The solution will start working on the rust and buildup, breaking it down. Many guides suggest waiting 15 minutes and repeating the process if necessary, but in my experience, it's better to do it once and thoroughly. Let the CLR sit in the heater core for about 1 hour. This is usually enough time to dissolve sludge and surface rust. Step 6. Flush out the CLR. Now it's time to rinse everything out. Use a garden hose to flush the debris from the heater core. Be careful with water pressure. Too much can bend or damage the radiator fins, which are delicate. Keep your water pressure low, around 10-20 psi. A small quarter or half turn on your spigot is usually enough. Use the same short hose you used for the CLR to rinse. Spray water into the heater core until the water coming out is clear. Start with the inlet first, then the outlet. This ensures that all debris is fully removed from both ends of the heater core. Depending on how dirty your system is, you might want to repeat the process. If you do, let the CLR sit for about 30 minutes before rinsing it again. Step 7. Replace the hoses. Now that everything has been removed, it's time to reassemble the system, starting with the hoses. Once the hoses are replaced, make sure the radiator is topped off with coolant. This step is crucial. If done incorrectly, all your work could be wasted. Not only could your engine be at risk, but your cabin heating system may fail as well. Proper reassembly ensures both engine performance and cabin warmth are restored. Step 8. Fill and bleed the coolant. Every major repair requires bleeding the cooling system. If you skip this step, air pockets can form and trap heat, creating hot spots that may cause serious engine damage or overheating. Taking the time to do this correctly could save you thousands of dollars in potential repairs. To begin, remove the radiator cap and attach a spill-proof funnel to the radiator neck. While some try to improvise with a plastic bottle, this is risky and unnecessary. A proper coolant funnel kit costs around $25, or half that, for a budget option. And it is a worthwhile investment that will last for years. Next, fill the radiator with the manufacturer-recommended coolant. If you mix your own antifreeze, always use distilled water. Using the wrong coolant can result in costly damage, including a blown cylinder head gasket. After filling, leave some extra coolant in the funnel. Start the engine with the hood open, set the fan to its lowest setting and the heat to maximum. Confirm that warm air is coming from the vents. Return to the front of the vehicle as bubbles begin to form in the radiator. This is normal as the thermostat opens and the engine warms. Keep topping off the funnel until the coolant level stabilizes. If bubbles do not appear, slightly increase engine speed to warm the car more quickly, while checking that warm air continues to flow into the cabin. Once the engine reaches its optimal temperature and airflow is steady, turn it off, replace the radiator cap, fill the overflow reservoir, and take the vehicle for a short test drive. After the car cools, check the radiator one last time to ensure it remains full. At this point, your heating system should be operating efficiently. Coolant maintenance and flushing. Maintaining proper coolant quality is critical, as degraded or dirty coolant causes about 60% of heater core failures. Most vehicles require a full coolant flush every 30,000 to 60,000 miles, or approximately every 2 to 5 years. While having a professional perform this service costs around $200, it is a worthwhile investment to prevent expensive repairs and ensure the heating system continues to function at peak efficiency. Even if your budget is tight, flushing your car's coolant is a straightforward task. You'll need coolant, a drain pan, a spill-proof funnel kit, distilled water, safety gloves, pliers, and a coolant flush solution. Step 1. Drain the old coolant. Place a drain pan under the radiator and open the radiator drain plug. Let all the old coolant flow out completely. Once drained, securely close the radiator drain plug. Step 2. Add distilled water and flush. With the coolant reservoir empty, place a funnel and pour in distilled water. Start the engine so the water circulates through the system via the water pump. Before adding the coolant flush solution, make sure the radiator is filled to the top with water as needed. Step 3. Circulate the flush. Drive the car for 10-15 minutes to allow the chemical flush to flow through the entire cooling system. Keep an eye on the temperature gauge. If it climbs too high, air pockets may be present. To ensure the flush reaches the heater core, turn on the car's heating system. If the vents aren't blowing hot air, you may need to add more water. Step 4. Remove the flush. Wait for the engine to cool completely, then reopen the radiator drain plug. Remove the reservoir cap to let the water drain faster. You can briefly run the engine to push out any remaining flush mixture. Try to drain as much water as possible before proceeding to the next step. Step 5. Refill with coolant. Close the radiator drain plug, then refill the system with coolant. If mixing your own antifreeze, always use distilled water. Tap water can contain minerals that degrade the coolant quickly. Bleed the cooling system according to your car manufacturer's instructions, then take the car for a final test drive. After 20 minutes, the temperature gauge should stay in the middle, and the heater should be working properly. If both are normal, your coolant flush and refill were successful.